This is the latest low of the anti-Israel left identity politics. The irony is that this latest attack exposes the emptiness of their cause called Palestine. Before I explain, welcome back and thank you for watching. I'm Avi Abelo with the Pulse of Israel, an authentic Jewish voice from the Jewish ancestral homeland, Israel. I'm here to share with you the truth about the culture war we are all experiencing, and in order to share with you the inspiring truth about Israel and the Jewish people to counter the lies of our haters all over. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and don't miss out on all the videos I do by signing up to our newsletter using the link below. Most importantly, please share this video. All right, let's get into this latest fail of the anti-Israel attack of the left. As this Jerusalem Post article tells us, an announcement that actress Gadot, who is Jewish, would play the Egyptian queen Cleopatra has been met with shock and claims that an Arab woman or some European actress should have been chosen. In short, Jews are no longer allowed to be cast in most roles, or they are now accused somehow of displacing others. In the last century, anti-Semites told Jews they were rootless foreigners from the Middle East. Now, Jews are told they aren't supposed to play Middle Eastern roles, no matter where they are from. Alexandra Halaby, who has 20,000 followers on Twitter, noted that, quote, "We are now pushing for diverse and authentic representation in Hollywood." All right, that was the end of the Jerusalem Post quote. First of all, who cares? Actors are supposed to be chosen based on how well they will portray a role. Hollywood is very good at using makeup when they need to. This identity politics now seeping into Hollywood is a disgrace. But I want to thank all those identity politics leftists, anti-Israel haters for bashing Gal Gadot's casting as Cleopatra, because it allows us to share the truth and bash some of their lies of their anti-Israel Palestine narrative. The bottom line is that Cleopatra wasn't an Arab. She was of Greek descent. Cleopatra was the last of the Macedonian Greek dynasty that ruled Egypt from the time of Alexander the Great. Rome then became interested in Egypt during her reign, and Cleopatra then became the love of Julius Caesar and later of Mark Antony. The point is, there were no Arab Muslims in Egypt at the time of Cleopatra. It was a Greek dynasty. The Arab-Muslim conquest of Egypt did not take place until centuries later in the 7th century. The Muslim conquest of Egypt by the Arabs took place between 639 and 646 AD and was overseen by the Rashidun Caliphate. It ended the centuries-long period of Roman Byzantine reign over Egypt. During the time of Cleopatra, Egypt and the Jewish homeland of Israel, at the time called Judea, were both part of the Greek Empire. No Arabs or Muslims were yet in Egypt or Judea, aka Israel. So while Cleopatra was definitely Middle Eastern, she wasn't an Arab and she wasn't Muslim. And one of the most beautiful and talented Hollywood actresses today is Gal Gadot, who also happens to be a Middle Eastern Jew. How perfect is that? But again, it is not really important as long as an actor is chosen as the most talented to play a given role. Now, let's look at some of the unhinged anti-Israel comments in response to the announcement of casting Gal Gadot as Cleopatra. Here we have one. Hollywood's at it again with the whitewashing. What exactly is Hollywood whitewashing? By choosing a beautiful woman to portray Cleopatra? No. It is the tweeter who is whitewashing Greek-Egyptian history by lying to people that Arab Muslims were there at the time. She is the one whitewashing for the cause called Palestine. Cleopatra was Greek, not Arab. There was no Arab Muslim Palestinians. And here's another beauty. Quote, "Which Hollywood dumbass thought it would be a good idea to cast an Israeli actress as Cleopatra?" In parentheses, a very bland-looking one. "Instead of a stunning Arab actress like Nadine Najim. And shame on you, Gal Gadot. Your country steals Arab land and you're stealing their movie roles." No. Macedonian Greek Cleopatra is actually proof that Arab Muslims stole Egypt, Israel, and other lands from others in the 7th century and from then on. But truth, facts, and history don't bother the anti-Israel crowd in the name of Palestine. By the way, another way to understand how this fiasco casting Gal Gadot as Cleopatra has more to do with an anti-Semitic leftist agenda, more than actually to do with any justice or social justice in Hollywood, is actually the Broadway show Hamilton. Hamilton was one of the most celebrated plays on Broadway. Back when Broadway was Broadway, before the virus, one had to order tickets for the Hamilton show months and months and months in advance. And they were extremely expensive tickets on Broadway as well. The Broadway show Hamilton was about the white European Americans who founded America. Yet plenty of the actors in the Broadway cast were not white. Was there an outrage against this politically incorrect travesty with a casting of Hamilton? No. Not at all. Not only that, they celebrated hiring non-whites for the historic white European roles in the play. In an article titled, "How Hamilton Became a Color-Conscious Casting Trailblazer Before It Was Cool," the byline is, Anthony Ramos, Leslie Odom Jr., and the Hamilton casting directors reveal the process behind casting black and brown faces as historic white figures. And you want to know something? That's totally fine. As long as the actors are chosen because they can play the character as best as possible, then who cares what color they are? And it was fine by the left for Hamilton. But when it comes to casting a beautiful Jewish, Israeli, Middle Eastern woman for the role of a Greek, Middle Eastern historic role of Cleopatra, then the anti-Israel leftist Palestine crowd screams and shouts how wrong it is. To end with a bit of humor, I would be remiss to ignore this great tweet. Cleopatra was 39 when she died. Gal Gadot is 35. They couldn't find a 39-year-old Greek descendant of Ptolemy, the savior, who also ruled Egypt and had relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony? Great tweet. I really hope Hollywood does not give in to the anti-Israel social justice mob, and it keeps Gal Gadot as Cleopatra for the upcoming movie. As a huge history buff who loves history movies, I personally can't wait to see Gal Gadot as Cleopatra. And let the Israel-hating left and Palestine activists continue to show their ignorance and hypocrisy as they continue to spew their lies for the world to see.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.